Hey there. Welcome to the third of your free videos. I hope you've been enjoying these. I hope they have really, I hope they've stirred some things up and made you think about some things that you hadn't before. That's really what Coaching with Roy is all about, is, touching you at deep levels and pointing you in the right directions that I've walked in my own life. And let me just say that again, especially in this one I'm going to talk about right now. Is everything that I do, I eat my own cooking, folks. I practice what I preach. There is nothing that I share in anything here or in any e-course or in any of my coaching sessions where I'm giving you something that somebody else says or thinks or believes. Now, I have learned things from other people, but I practiced them first in my life for years. So I know that they work or they don't. And there's a lot of stuff I've learned from people, various teachers, all the gurus and stuff like that. I've spent a lot of time with those people personally and in their workshops and reading their books. There's a lot of stuff that I found doesn't work. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying it doesn't work. I only bring things to you through Coaching with Roy that I know they work in my life. And my life really is something that went from having relationships that were a mess to relationships that most people would die for. So that's why I feel like I'm an expert. Yes, I've done so much research and study and time with clients, but I consider myself an expert in conscious relationships because of my own results in my own life. Okay? So I share that with you just to know where I'm coming from with all this. And that's why I'm so sure that what I'm bringing you will make a difference in your life, because the more personal it is, the more universal it is. So I often tell people, it's like one beggar telling another beggar where to find bread. It's funny, but I'm sort of serious. I've been a beggar my whole life about relationships and other matters of happiness and success. And I've found some bread. And so I'm just basically saying to you, here, let me show you what I found. And that leads right into today's topic, the topic is called Why We Self-Sabotage. Have you noticed, I know you have, but have you noticed how we have a tendency to shoot ourselves in the foot? If there is one of the, maybe the most bizarre things about us human beings is that we almost can't handle success. We limit ourselves. We derail ourselves when some things start going well. So maybe we lose 10 pounds and then we binge. Why? Or we've just had a great weekend with our partners and then we pick a fight. Why do we have to derail ourselves? Or we've made some great strides in our professional lives and then do something stupid, right? All of us can point to something that we've done or we've experienced where we seem to hit some sort of limit of how much joy or love or success or well-being that we can stand, and then we screw it up in some way. Let me give you an example. For a long time in my life, I was a professional golfer. I played on the PGA Tour, with Tiger Woods, major championships, all that stuff. I had a pattern in my professional life for years where I would start out well in a particular round or a tournament, but as I got into contention, as I started to get close to maybe breaking through into a whole new level of like being at the upper echelon of professional golf and making millions of dollars, when I would get close to that, I would screw up. So I might shoot a very good score in the front nine and bad on the back nine. Or I might play well in the first part of the tournament and I would play bad on Sunday. Why? Why would my game change from one hole to another, from one day to another? Okay? So why do we sabotage? And the answer comes as I've looked at my own life and done my own work around this. The answer comes because what I've seen is that all of us carry some sort of story kind of in the background of our awareness. We may not even be that aware of it. But we have some sort of story of how we're inadequate, or we're flawed, or we don't deserve something, or somehow that we're deficient. Maybe we think we're a loser, or we're unlovable, or we're unwanted, or we're not good enough. We have some sort of story running in the background of our awareness that maybe's been there since we were little. And so what happens is when we start to get into a situation where we're breaking free of that story, like we're starting to experience or create something in our life that doesn't fit with that narrative. Let's just say that you always thought you were unlovable. Okay? So the minute you start to experience love, I mean unconditional, the really good stuff, it's not going to fit your story of being unlovable. And so you'll screw it up to prove the story to be true. Or like for me, I have had a story of not being good enough. So when I start to perform in a tournament or in my professional life or anything, when I start to get a result that's exceeding my level of what I think I deserve or what I'm good enough to do, I will sabotage it because it doesn't fit who I am. In other words, you get out of your comfort zone. So we all have heard that phrase, our comfort zone. Well, our comfort zone is just a nicer way of describing our core story of deficiency. I'm comfortable being basically not quite good enough. I'm comfortable with the idea that I'm not really wanted, or I'm not lovable, or I don't deserve all of that. I deserve this much. I'm comfortable with that. I don't deserve this much. Why do you think people, when they win the lotteries, almost across the board, blow all the money or end up addicts or end up in jail? It's because they've come into an amount of energy, amount of success, an amount of well-being, abundance that their system cannot support. They don't see themselves as worthy of that. They don't think they deserve that. It doesn't fit their narrative. So they sabotage themselves. So we've all seen that. So that's a graphic way of describing what happens in all of our lives. So the key, if you want to break through the limits to greater love, greater success, greater joy, greater well-being, is to identify your comfort zone, identify that core story of deficiency, and deal directly with it. Because if you don't deal with it, it's like a governor on a motorcycle. You cannot go faster than it. You cannot exceed your story. Okay? Now, there are ways of dealing with the story. There are amazing tools of dealing with some of that baggage. And one of those tools is in an e-course that I've created here. It's an e-course that's titled The Life You're Meant to Live. Finding personal, professional, physical, or psychological freedom through something called the Living Inquiries. The Living Inquiries is kind of a personal growth, inner self-discovery tool developed by a guy named Scott Killaby. Was a mentor of mine. He trained me on how to use the tool, and now I have been commissioned to kind of go into the world and help people deal with that stuff that's in the background, that story that they never want to deal with. So if you've self-sabotaged, or you want to launch your life into a new level of intimacy, of success in the world, of physical breakthrough in terms of losing weight or getting in shape, or if you're hampered by anxiety, fear, loneliness, and you want to break out of all those patterns, then your next step is to take that e-course, The Life You're Meant to Live. Okay? So that's what everybody's doing on this site. They come, they subscribe, they begin to see what we're all about here, they identify what their issue is, they find there's an e-course that speaks directly to that, and they jump in and they take it because your first e-course is half off and so forth. And I talked all about that. I've talked about the e-courses. I've even talked about the all-access membership that gets you access to everything that's on the site now or ever will be. But then there's also the option of working directly with me. And really, in the Living Inquiries and the Life You're Meant to Live, you can learn a lot with the e-course, but it almost takes a one-on-one facilitator. Okay? So one-on-one coaching is always the best, and I haven't said much about that yet. But if you want to attract lasting love, if you want to create a great relationship, if you want to break through your blockages to success, well-being, or whatever, physically, psychologically, professionally, whatever it might be, the best way is one-on-one. And yes, it's more expensive, but it's deeper. So you can go on the site, you can learn all about working directly with me and what that's like. I won't tell you much more about that now. That's what the site is for. So I really have enjoyed being with you and touching on these 3 serious issues over the last 3 days. The issue of, why do I keep attracting the same patterns and the same kind of people? And then, what is the commitment to make a relationship work? And then, what is it that's holding me back from my potential in this world as a human being? Those are 3 significant issues. And they sort of give you a picture about what Coaching with Roy is all about. And so I look forward to supporting you further in your journey in any one of those areas, as a single person, in a relationship, or just on a personal growth and development path. My whole life, my purpose in life, my reason for being here is to point people towards conscious relationships, to recognize myself as a beggar and tell other beggars where to find some really good bread. All right? So reach out to me if you have questions. Pick the phone up. I'll send you a couple emails over the next couple of weeks to stay in touch with you and see how you're doing with all this, because I know they stir some things up. So give me a call if you have any questions. Until then, we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.